I don't believe in the supernatural. Never have, never will. But everything the last few days has me questioning everything. I haven't slept, I haven't eaten, I haven't left my house. Yet I fear she will get me anyway. Let me start at the beginning. I was driving home from a friend's party 3 days ago. I'd stayed late, and it was already dark out. And then something caught my eye. On the third floor of an old Victorian house, the light was on. In the window, I saw a shape. The shape of a woman hanging upside down. It was as if her feet were somehow tied to the ceiling, and she was hanging upside down in midair. Her arms somehow hung naturally at her sides, defying gravity. But her hair hung straight down from her head, ending in little wispy threads. No detail, just a silhouette. As soon as I recognized it, I was already past the house. So I turned around and drove past it again. This time, I only saw some rumpled curtains with tassels and a lamp in the window. Which, maybe if you squinted real hard, could look like a woman hanging upside down. I shook my head and kept driving home. I'd had a lot of pareidolia jump scares like this. Pareidolia is our brain's tendency to see faces and shapes in randomness, like how we see clouds that look like animals, or knots of wood that look like faces. Sometimes, I think I have an overactive sense of pareidolia. For example, years ago, when I got bangs cut for the first time, I started seeing shadow people. It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize the shadow people was hair falling into my eyes, that my brain was interpreting as some sort of demon or spirit. So I didn't give the upside down woman much thought. Until I saw her again. I was on the subway into work. Lights caught my eye, out the window, as another subway passed us in the opposite direction. I looked up, and there she was. The silhouette of a woman, hanging upside down, in the passing subway car. Pressed against the window, blurred by the speed of the train. I only saw her for a split second, and then she was gone, as the train rattled past us. What the fuck? I must have just seen, like, a black jacket draped over a seat, or something, right? My heart began to pound. I stared out the window for the rest of my commute. But all the other passing subways were fine, filled with commuters staring at their phones. When I got out at the station, my legs were so weak, I thought I might collapse. But I forced myself to work. I didn't see anything strange on the way back from work, either. When I got home, I tried to distract myself, binging the nastiest stuff on HBO and plowing through an entire bag of chips. Then, I finally went to sleep, only to wake up with a start at 3:03 a.m. I was covered in a film of cold sweat. My heart was pounding, but I couldn't remember any dream. Usually when I woke up like this, the vestiges of some nightmare were still in my head. This time, there was nothing. I rolled over, pulling the covers up to my chin, and closed my eyes. Wait. There was something in the darkness of my room that didn't look quite right. I opened my eyes and looked around the room, my heart hammering. The dark shapes of my nightstand, my bookshelves, came into focus. Everything was where it should be. Except for the light. It was too dark in here. I rolled back over, towards my window, and realized that the usual annoying light from the street lamp below was not shining through the curtains. I got out of bed, slowly, and made my way to the window. I pulled back the curtains. My knees buckled underneath me. She was hanging from the roof. Her feet were tied to the awning of the roof, right in front of my window. Her arms hung loosely from her shoulders. Her hair hung straight down, waving gently in the breeze. Actually, her entire body was waving gently in the breeze. I grabbed the curtains and pulled them shut. I ran over to the light. Then I tiptoed back to the window and peeked out a tiny slit between the curtains. No. She was gone. I saw the street lamp. The night sky, dotted with stars. The next morning, I tried to tell myself it was a dream. I'd had a few weird moments in my life, in the twilight between dreaming and wake. Sleep is a weird, hallucinogenic continuum, and who was to say I hadn't imagined the woman out my window? Deep down, I knew that wasn't true. But it was a pretty little lie. I made my way to work shaken. I didn't look up at passing subway cars. I drank about 3 cups of coffee. Jeff, ever the charmer, told me I looked super tired, and Tina asked me if I was sick. I didn't tell them what happened. They wouldn't believe me. When I got home, I started searching online for what I'd seen. Now, I wasn't laughing. I was desperately searching for an answer to whatever this was. And then, finally, I found it. Someone claimed their friend had seen the upside-down woman, and had died 4 days later. Stay away from windows, they warned. It can only manifest in windows. They also remarked that their friend had at first seen the woman through 2 layers of glass, like through a car window, into the window of a home, and then, later, through only 1 window. Like it was getting closer. Some sciencey person had replied, asking all kinds of ridiculous questions, like if plastic counts, or any transparent material, and they replied, there has to be a pane of glass, or glass-like material, in front of the person. They did not explain glass-like any further. There was no way to avoid windows. Unless I lived in the basement. So I moved food, water, and clothing down there while half closing my eyes. I told my boss I was sick. Oh yeah, Tina told me you looked sick. Hope it's not COVID. It took me a long time, but then I was settled in. For how long, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was even possible to wait out the upside-down woman. And I didn't even know if I actually believed in her existence, in the first place. That was about to change. I decided to get some reading done to get my mind off things. I grabbed my book and, without thinking, grabbed my reading glasses. As soon as I put them on, I screamed. She was hanging from the basement ceiling. Hanging in the corner. A void of darkness, hair nearly trailing to the floor. And then, this time, she moved. In jerky, incredibly fast motions, she broke free from the ceiling and scrambled towards me. I ripped the glasses off my face, but not before pain exploded in my arm. When I looked down, there were 4 deep scratch marks on my forearm, dripping blood. That leaves me here. I am sitting in my basement, away from all windows and glass, on the 3rd day. According to the guy on the internet, his friend was killed the 4th day. I don't know what will happen after 4 days. If that means I've waited her out, and she'll move on to another target, or if she'll kill me anyway, glass or not. If you don't hear from me in 24 hours, assume the worst.